Once there was a businessman whose mind on a certain spring day was not on business. Now, where could it be? Nope, wrong guess. But what on earth could make our hero become so abnormal at a time like this? Ah, the man's an angler. In spring, an angler's fancy turns to thoughts of fishing. But a real good angler first puts his house in order before starting out to snare the biggest fish that ever was caught in fresh water. Our hero, of course, must do things the right way. So, naturally, he starts by carefully cleaning and oiling his reel with just the right kind of lubricant. He probably wouldn't tell you that this time his line is a little shorter than last time because the end gets knocked about quite a bit and should be cut off. But he doesn't mind your knowing about that 5-inch loop at the end of the line to attach the metal leader to. And another tip well worth knowing is that a little natural oil from the side of the nose provides the ferrules with just the right amount of lubrication, so they can be taken apart easily. Of course, oil from your hair would do almost as well. And don't forget to test your rod thoroughly and make sure all joints and line guides are secure. Have you ever felt a good tug on your line and then suddenly the pull stops and you bring in your line to find the plug gone and the fish too? Maybe it's a metal leader or trace to the end of your line. Most fish have sharp teeth, and a light line is just their meat. Well, who's this? Remember back when? Might have been you. Boy, oh boy. Now let's see. How about this one? Right? Then there's only one thing left to do. Let's go fishing. Yes, sir, brother. Let's go fishing. Now let's see, where were we? Oh yes, once there was a businessman, and it was spring. Now wait a minute, let's start all over again. A businessman has responsibilities, so let's get down to business. There, that's better. You can't mix business with pleasure. What again? This will never do. A trophy. Well, here we are again, casting. Not bad either. Well poised too, just in case. Ah, that's the stuff. Not too fast. Then wait a second. Then in a little more. Makes your plug act more enticing. A little reminder, never cast with the click on. See that action? Mostly wrist. The thumb stops the drum. A slight pressure while the line is going out, and when the lure hits the water, bing, and everything is under control. Now, here's a plug, lure to you. But maybe we'd better start at the beginning and define the term lure. According to the experts, a lure is a device, alive, dead, or artificial, which, when anchored to a contrivance known as a line and brought into the proximity of a member of the fish family, will entice the latter to abandon discretion and arouse its Epicurean or pugnacious instinct so that it investigates and becomes attached to said lure. In other words, brother, a lure is anything that will catch fish. Now, artificial lures come in all colors, shapes, and sizes, from the lowly bent pin to the mighty musky plug. Their shades may be somber or their hues brilliant. They may be of the wandering, slow-moving type or the speedy, erratic kind. They may be wobblers or they may be spinners. They may ply the surface or they may explore the depths of the water. All types have proven their worth, results of their use varying according to the waters in which they are used. Practically every angler has his private lure. He may like the feel of its motion better than his others, and it may have brought him in more fish than the others. However, experience in fishing, as elsewhere, will tell the story. Spoons as well as plugs are also lures. Like plugs, their characteristics vary. Some anglers swear by spoons, but again, the success of a lure determines its popularity to any one fisherman. If you've tried all these plugs, and your efforts have gone unrewarded, you can always use the worm. You know, there ought to be a law against allowing office fixtures to distract from business. Pardon me, miss, I meant sports pictures and such. Now, let's see, where were we? Oh, yes. Once there was a businessman. That's right, once there was a businessman, but not anymore. No, sirree, not with the fish rising and the sun shining and the boys waiting. Well, what's new? Ah, another lure. That's an angler all over, like a child with a new toy. Of course, it has perfect action. They all do, or do they? Well, here's Bill. Quite an array of tackle, too. Bet he's a real fisherman. Whoops, little early in the day to start fishing, Bill. What could you expect with a plug dangling on your line, and on dry land, too? I suppose you think that's a good way to test your line. Yes, it is. Perhaps now we can go fishing. Well, what do you know? It's a fact. It's quite usual and permissible while en route to the casting grounds to do a bit of trolling. A strike, it would be the guide. A nice big muskie. Takes a little handling to land one of these babies. The best way is to play him and tire him out. Then you're liable to snap as Mr. Muskie makes a sudden lunge in the other direction. A good strong gaff, a few taps on the head, and that usually ends the battle, but not the story. That comes later. And how is our erstwhile businessman doing? Lady Luck seems to be with him, too. A nice bass. Don't believe there's a bigger thrill than hooking a bass. It takes some tricky rod handling to land one. A slack line just for an instant, and you might have to think up another tall tale about the one that got away. See that? Always net him from the rear. It's the tail that kicks up the rumpus, and besides, you avoid entangling the hooks until after the fish is in the net. And use a net. Don't take a chance on losing a fish. And it's kinder to the fish. A hook could tear away part of the fish's mouth through weight alone as it slides to a questionable freedom. A stringer keeps smaller fish nice and fresh until the day's fun is over. The safety pin type is best. And now for some real fishing. To some anglers, you know, casting is the sporting method of catching a fish. It's a matter of opinion. Well, Bill, what plug'll it be? Quite an assortment. Let's see. Might have known. You'd be in a pretty pickle if you needed one of those in a hurry. See, Bill, even your friend doesn't approve. Now, if you took a little time to arrange things like this, you wouldn't be caught napping if you saw a nice one sunning itself on the bottom, and there was a good chance of getting him. What's this? Another muskie? Isn't that something? 2 muskies in one afternoon. You know, many's the angler who has fished year in and year out with his heart set on hooking and landing the king of freshwater fighters without success. And the few who do get them consistently year after year must be endowed with fisherman's luck as well as a knack for the art of Isaac Walton. Yes, sir, it certainly is a beauty. Well, Bill, ready to cast yet? Try it. Easy now. Whoops! Almost missed him, didn't you? And you forgot to thumb your line, too. See what happens? That's what is called a beautiful backlash. Ought to keep you occupied for a while. Maybe you'll learn sometime, somehow. Another one. Looks like Bill has scared all the fish your way. And say, see the way our hero holds his rod? Tip near the water, slight bend to keep the line taut. Now that's fishing. Untangled, eh, Bill? Better watch how it's done this time. There, see? Easy, isn't it? Now you try. Hey, hold on. Now what? Caught in the act, eh? That'll teach you to let out only a foot of line with your plug before you cast. Ah, our hero's luck still holds. And what'll it be this time, friend? A bass, dory, muskie, pike, perch, maybe a shiner. Well, well, a dory. Aren't you the lucky lad? What now? At long last. Congratulations, Bill. Now let's see some real technique. Say, you shouldn't do that, Bill. You might tear that fish's mouth. Wait a minute. Wet your hand first. That fish needs its protective slime in case you have to throw him back, which I think you're going to have to do. See, undersize. Know your fish laws, Bud? No, they're not kidding. That bass will grow, Bill, and produce thousands of others just like him. Come on now, be a regular fella, that's it. Now you're a true sportsman. I will admit it's kind of tough at times, though. Not bad at all. And so comes the end of a perfect day on the water. Don't believe I know one other pastime that clears away the cobwebs better than fishing.